Have you ever considered where you're going to host your videos for your website and got thoroughly confused with all the jargon, all the tech talk, and all of the stuff that goes along with it? Today's episode tries to dig into that. So stay tuned and find out what you need to think about when looking at where to store your videos so they play nicely from your website. Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and Shine. It's your dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 744. I know what episode number it is today. It is Mindset Monday. We're going to be talking about video hosting and what we as business owners need to think about and all the things that go into it that we have to work our way through when considering what our options are. This episode is because one of my clients asked me this morning why they couldn't just upload their video to their form and have their form host it. Now, that might not make any sense to you, but essentially they've got a third-party form provider. On the form that they're using, it's got a video at the top. It's a YouTube video. It's served from YouTube when people press play. They want to move their provider and they don't like using YouTube for reasons. I will cover those. And they said, well, can't we just use the forms services to do it? And the answer is no, not really. Today is my attempt to explain that. Now, before I explain it, let's talk about what we mean by video hosting. We're talking about streaming video, which is really, it is the YouTubes, it is the Amazons, it is the Prime videos. When you press play on a video that's on a website, it starts playing immediately on your computer and keeps playing without stopping, starting, pausing, jittering, all of those things. Now, streaming video and video hosting is pretty much the delivery side of your video equation. Streaming will break a file into small chunks and send them continuously to the viewer's PC so that they can start watching it and keep watching it while the rest loads behind it. So if you can imagine, you're sitting there and there's the first little bit, starts playing, and then the next little bit comes down, the next little bit comes down, the next little, it streams from the server down to your computer. That's why we call it streaming. And when we're talking about hosting a video, we're talking about what services can we use to do that and do that well so that our visitors have a good experience. Just as a bit of history here, if you've been around for as long as I have in this industry, you will remember when streaming video really wasn't a thing. It was, you put a video up on your website, you could press play, and what it would do is download the entire video to your visitor's PC and then start playing. There was a few things we could do to get it to start playing a bit earlier, but it would then start playing. When that happened, pretty much what you do is you'd press play, you'd go make yourself a cup of coffee, go and play with the dog, pair the socks, maybe do your taxes, and by the time you come back, maybe it was ready to start playing. I am talking about my experiences in Australia on Australian internet back then. So, there is that as well, but it was not a great experience all the way around. Today, streaming video is so much better, but there is a lot more that we need to think about it, not about it, think about. I really want to talk about just a couple of things to remember, the things that I think are important before we get into looking at what the different options are. There's what creates the streaming and then how do we store it. All right, so what creates the streaming, depending on which provider you're with, and I'm going to use YouTube as the example here. Not all video hosting providers do this. We will get into the differences very soon. But what YouTube will do is something called transcoding and adaptive bit rate. I say that wrong every time, adaptive bit rate. And what that means is that when you upload a video to your hosting provider, your video hosting provider, YouTube in this case, it actually creates multiple different versions of that one video. Now, those different versions will have different resolutions and different bit rates. And the idea is that you will have high quality versions of them, 1080p, 720p, and lower quality versions, 480p and 360p. They tend to be the four that you see the most. And the idea is that when a visitor says, send me that video to watch, the platform says, oh, you're in a lower quality connection. Maybe I'm on my mobile phone on mobile data in Australia. Oh, you're on a really low quality connection. We're going to send you one of the lower quality videos so that it plays well, it looks good, and you can have a good experience watching it without it stopping, starting, stuttering, doing its thing. I could be sitting here at my desktop with my Starlink connection, and it says, oh, you're on a really good connection. We're going to send you the really high quality version. And you can not only have a visual feast, but it's going to play really well for you. Now, when I talk about the resolution, some of you may notice that the resolutions are slightly different. Typically, you won't. And one of the reasons you won't is when you're talking 1080p to 360p, you're not only just talking about the quality of the resolution on the video, the size is actually physically smaller as well. So, yeah, 1080p will be if you were to put up on the screen, it'd be a huge video. If you were to get the 360p version down and put it up on your computer, it will be a smaller size, physically smaller size. That's why you won't really notice a difference if you're playing it on the phone to your TV or your big screen. You might, but I don't think it's that noticeable. I'd like to know what you guys think on that one. Don't digress. Let's keep moving. So that's one of the things to remember when we're talking through all of this is how this actually works, and the fact that there are multiple different versions of a video once you upload your first version. Pretty much there is 5 copies of that video sitting up on your hosting provider. Your original, the 1080p, the 720p, the 480p, and the 360p. 5 different versions. The other thing to consider is that video files are typically large files. Now, a 10-minute HD video can easily run to 1 gigabyte or more in size. Yes, there are things we can do to reduce that size, but they're still largish files. Now, if you're uploading 1 copy of 1 gigabyte file and it is being coded 5 times to different resolutions, you will have somewhere between 3 and 5 gigabytes of data stored on the server just for that one video. It's not 1 gigabyte. It is a number times that, because you've got multiple versions being saved. Why I'm telling you that is because the more videos you upload, the more storage you need. You're storing a video for every quality version that you are creating, and storage at that scale costs money. So that's the other thing to think about is when we get into what types of providers there are, that's one of the costs that you've got to look for and you've got to be aware of. Now, the other thing to consider on that, it's not just the storage cost. It's not just the cost to put the videos up there and have them sitting there. Some cloud storage providers also charge when that file is accessed. So when you've got sitting up there, you're being charged for it being sitting up there. Someone comes along and says, play that video, and you get charged for for the amount of data that is downloaded for that video to be played. Now, that's called an egress and bandwidth costs or bandwidth costs. So if you see that in your documentation, that's what that means. I'm telling you all of this because this is stuff that we need to think about. Alrighty, that's the important stuff. Let's move on because I don't want this to go forever. Let's talk about the different types of hosting now. Now that I've set the scene as to how it all works, let's talk about the different types of hostings and the things that they do. We have dedicated video hosting. Now, dedicated video hosting is things like YouTube, I've just discussed that, Vimeo, and Rumble. These are all dedicated video platforms. They absorb the storage and bandwidth costs, typically in exchange for either advertising, they advertise on your videos, or recommendations. Sometimes they might charge you, they might offer you a subscription fee. You get a little bit more control and you don't have as much advertising on your videos. But they pretty much, if you look at YouTube's business model, you put your videos up there, they're happy for you to put your videos up there generally, as long as you don't break their rules, because they're going to show ads on them and they make money from their adverts. Just remember, If it's free, you are the product, they're not the product. Just remember that one. So that's dedicated video hosting. And typically the reason you would use it, it is so easy to use. You just put it up there and it just works. You don't have to think about anything else. They do the transcoding, they do the serving of the different versions. They handle it all. If you look at YouTube, if you look at Rumble, I think even if you look at Vimeo, I haven't looked at Vimeo in a while actually. You even get some reasonable statistics about how many views your video's got when you can look at your analytics on it. The second type of video hosting is raw cloud or object storage. Now, that's things like you will have heard people say, I'll just put it on Amazon S3. And if it's not Amazon S3, they might say Wasabi. It's hot, I guess. Or the new one is DigitalOcean Spaces, which is a similar service using the same technology as Amazon S3 does. Now, files are stored less expensively there, but they don't get converted automatically into all the different versions. That transcoding and adaptive bitrate doesn't happen. If you want to do that, you will have to do the transcoding and the adaptive bitrates yourself to get the different different resolutions up there. The point with raw cloud or object storage is pretty much you pay for everything you use. Now, they might have free tiers, but you've also got to be very, very careful with hosting like this because the cost to deliver the video can spike unexpectedly if you end up with heavy traffic. If you end up with it going viral and everyone wants to go and watch this video on your website, it's going to cost you. Raw cloud or object storage can get very, very expensive very, very quickly. Now, there's another form of video hosting, and it's very close to your dedicated video hosting. In fact, it is like dedicated video hosting with a bit more on top. These are platforms like Wistia or Vidyard, and they're built for streaming and analytics. They don't have any competitor content, like they don't have any advertising. They're not going to put your competitors' ads up on your video. They're not going to do the recommended videos like YouTube does at the end of a video for YouTube. It'll say recommended videos, and you might end up with your competitor's video in your recommended videos. Cool, guys. Wistia or Vidyard, these business-focused platforms don't tend to do that. They've got better analytics and better marketing tools, of course, but there is a monthly cost to that. I don't know what the costs for these are. I didn't want to get into the cost because it all changes. So there's three types of hosting to consider. You've got your dedicated video hosting, you've got your raw cloud or object storage, and you've got your business focused platforms. Which one you choose depends on how much you want to mess around, whether you want to trust a free service like YouTube to do the right thing by you, whether you are prepared to absorb the fact that they will be recommending other videos on your video. Guys, I'm really well aware, by the way, because I can hear some of you screaming already, but Charly, we can say don't show featured videos. No, you can't say don't show featured videos, but you can say show featured videos from my own channel. And typically they pay attention to that, but not always. So you've got a little bit of control there, but it will always show the featured videos at the end, typically, unless you're breaking their rules of service, their terms of service, because that's where they make their money. So you've got to make your decision as to, do you just want it all done for you and you don't mind the inconvenience of all of this stuff? Or do you want to go to a more purpose-built solution using a raw cloud or object storage solution and then doing something else on top of it, or even just having the one version that streams down, it will still stream? Or do you want to go to one of these business-focused platforms? I haven't looked very heavily into these business-focused platforms. I don't see the benefit for most small business owners going that far. It's one of the two. It's the raw cloud, or we just stick with YouTube or Vimeo or Rumble. I guess the last thing I want to talk about, because this came up a lot. Every time I went looking at the information for this, it says, oh, but you could put a CDN on top of this and it will fix a lot of these problems. So a CDN, what is a CDN? Why is it important to have if we're talking about using raw cloud or object storage? Not so much with YouTube or Rumble or such. They run their own CDN. A CDN, guys, is a content delivery network. And basically what that does is you can have your files sitting somewhere on a cloud server in the internet, and then you hook in this content delivery network to it. You say connect to it. do the configs. And the content delivery network says, oh, there's a video. We're going to take a copy of that video and we're going to put a copy here, 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 here. We're going to put a copy down near Sydney. We're going to put a copy down near Singapore, up near America. It might be several locations in America, actually. Several locations in Europe, a couple of other places around the world. And when someone from Sydney says, I want to watch that video, we're going to serve it from the Sydney server. When someone in New York says, I want to watch that video, we're going to serve it from a server closer to them in the North America. We're not going to make the data travel all the way from that server wherever you've got your central server, your cloud, your raw cloud or object storage server. We're not going to make it travel all the way from there down to there. So that is an extra bonus to you. If you're looking at doing this sort of thing, look at how your CDNs can improve, your content delivery networks can improve your delivery. It's going to slow down the lagging and it will slow down the buffering as well. That's all a CDN does. I know they talk about it and it's like this wonderful, big, wonderful thing. And that's what it does. As I said, though, your dedicated platforms and your business platforms will typically have this built in, so you don't need to worry about it. It's if you want to go and do your own self-hosting thing and have your own video player on your own web server linked back to the videos on your own S3 cache or your own raw cloud or object storage. All right. A longish video, and I am sorry. I did want to get through these issues. I did want to get through it all to try and explain it, because every time I have dug into this, I've gone down a rabbit hole trying to work out, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Do I have a single recommendation for you? I do not. You have to make a decision as to how much you want to spend and how much trouble you want to go to deliver your videos, and what you're prepared to accept to get the lower cost and the lower risk or the lower effort solutions. It is a huge decision. There's storage to consider. There's the cost of storage to consider. There's how you stream it, how you encode it, how it gets delivered, and that all happens together. And it's something you need to understand at least at a high level when looking at the options presented to you. Now, free options like YouTube absorb all that for you. And that's the point I was making to my poor client. You know, maybe we do want to just keep using YouTube because they absorb it all for you. All we need to do is upload our video once, fill in the information, and it just starts playing. They've done all the transcoding. They do all the adaptive bitrate delivery. They've got the CDN catered for. And all it costs us is the advertising and the recommendations at the end of our videos. And those recommendations might include our competitor content. I guess the point to remember, though, if it's free, I said this earlier, if it's free, you're the product. It's not the product. It's going to be taking data from your viewers. It's going to be taking all of that analytics and feeding it back into its own algorithms to work out what happens. I guess the other thing to consider is that you're also relying on its algorithm to recommend your content to other channels. That might not be a consideration if you're looking at just using it as free hosting to have videos playing on your website. I guess the other thing with YouTube as well, this will come up. Someone will ask this question. I hope someone asks this question. You don't have to put up videos that are public. You can put up videos that are unlisted. The term is unlisted. They're still on your channel. You can still get a URL for them, and you can still use that URL to display them on your website or send people to. They just don't appear on the public side of the interface. Like, you can't search for them. They don't show up in the recommendations. So you can have a semi-private video. Doesn't mean people won't find the URL. It doesn't mean people won't be able to look at your source code on your website and find the URL for your video and go look for it on YouTube and do whatever it is they want to do with it. But you can actually have unlisted videos. So there is that as well. Now, paid platforms and business tools do hand you back that control. But the costs are going to reflect the infrastructure doing that work. And if you're going to go for something like a self-hosting option, and when I say self-hosting option, I mean you're taking object storage like S3, that you're just taking your storage, and instead of having it on your computer or on your web server, you've got it onto a different web hosting video hosting server on the internet. They might seem less expensive because, you know, the hosting costs are quite reasonable, but there's a lot of more to consider. There's all the management on your part. Not, you know, you've got to upload the video if you want to do adaptive bit rate, and if someone comes to your website and they've got a lower quality connection and you want to try and replicate that, you need to have that technology on your web server or wherever you're serving those videos from to handle that. All right, so you've got that. That's a huge trade-off to me. Would I do the self-hosting option? Probably. I probably would, but that's me, and that's kind of what I do. So there is that. The important thing to understand, though, is understanding what is actually involved, and that's the choice that about what you're trading off. Are you trading off the convenience for the recommendations and the advertising revenue? Are you trading off the advertising revenue and the convenience so that you can have more control? You've got to make those decisions. It's not something that I can make a one-off recommendation for you. I can give you options and certainly talk through why it's a good thing to go one way, things that are ways you around, you can do other things. I haven't even got into services like Cloudflare's video streaming, which adds another level of complexity, but also makes it a little easier to do things like your transcoding and your adaptive bitrate delivery. Haven't even got into that. It's just another layer. I think most business owners are still down at the, do we just stick with free YouTube, or do we pay and get a little bit of extra and just take the trade-off of we're not going to have adaptive bitrate. We're just going to be able to stream the one quality video to everyone who comes along. It's a trade-off. Okay, long episode. My throat's a bit sore. I've spoken a bit. I would love to know what you're thinking. I know it was a bit more than a usual episode. Personally, I found it interesting because I learned a heap doing it myself. Found out what new offerings are and how things are moving and what's going on, and you know, it moves so quickly too. What do you guys think? Leave comments wherever you're watching or listening to this episode. If it was useful, if it was remotely entertaining or useful or something, please do give it a like and share it with a friend who might be looking at putting videos on their website and need to understand what the trade-offs are. If you need help, if you want to work out the way of doing your video hosting and what your trade-offs are and what the cons and what the pros and how you might do it, feel free to reach out. AskCharlyLeetham.com. I offer a free 30-minute breakthrough session. Just when you go to AskCharlyLeetham.com, press the bright pink button in the top right-hand corner. You can book a session. If you've already used your breakthrough session and you want to keep working with me, do reach out. I've got any number of ways we can work together, and I like to work out what works best for both of us, or all of us, in whatever case it is. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I hope you have a great week. I will see you on Wednesday for Walkthrough Wednesday. And if you've got questions on what we spoke about today, leave them below. See you soon. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.